Hey Pisces, how's it going? Before I get started, I just want to mention something really strange that I saw today. Just for the record, it's February 25th, 2025 when I'm recording this, and the sunset was the weirdest thing. I think, I don't know what I saw. So I live in the woods and I was looking outside and I saw the light coming from the south, like directly south, and shadows being cast straight north. And really deep shadows, and the treetops were lit like pink orange. And I went outside, and looking through the trees, I saw like this big orange solar disk through the trees, like just a little bit above the horizon. And it was a little obscured by the trees, but it looked just like the sun. And it was directly south. And then I looked to the west and saw the sun setting normally where it is in the west, behind the hills. And so there's like a big orange solar disk in the south, casting a lot of light, a lot of strong light up to the north, and then the sun setting to the west as well. And I couldn't wrap my head around it. I stared at it and looking back and forth, walking around the woods, getting different angles at it. It was so strange. And then my mother called me and asked if I was looking at the sky. And she had been on her way home from work, driving from the south to the north, and she said she had seen the sun in her rearview mirror, that she'd never seen that before. And the sky was pitch black in the north, like half of the sky, and then the other half, the southern half of the sky, was illuminated pinkish orange. And it was the weirdest thing. She said like half the sky was pitch black and half the sky was illuminated. And it was coming from the south, and all the shadows were in front of her. Like the shadow of her car was in front of her, a really long shadow. And she like couldn't wrap her mind around it, and neither could I. And so like I'm glad she called me and told me, because I thought I was losing it or something. So anyway, I just wanted to ask like if any of you saw that today. Again, February 25th, 2025. You could be watching this at any time, but if you saw a strange sunset today, please let me know. If you have an explanation for how light can be cast from the south and the west at the same time, let me know. I have no idea what the hell that was. Very, very strange. And the light looked weird as well afterward. Like the light scattering off, the trees and the ground didn't look quite right. It looked like there wasn't enough light for the time, but also like there's too much light. And it just looked kind of unusual the way the light was reflecting off of all the objects outside. I don't know. Maybe we're both just crazy. But anyway, today I got a pretty interesting vibe for you Pisces. Sort of like a foundational, like a receptive feeling, or creating something that can be receptive. Like I really got this feeling of creating like a holy place, a holy site, a temple type place is like happening for you, or maybe you're doing this where you're setting aside a space, or you found a space, or a space has been set aside for you that is like this. It can like receive something. It can maybe, like a temple, receive spiritual energy, be like a conduit and a place that charges with spiritual energy or radiant earth energy. I get the sense of like crossing geomagnetic lines, like I think some people call them ley lines or dragon lines, where there's a lot of current that travels through the earth, and there are some places where these currents intersect. And if you dowse, like have you ever seen someone dowsing for water? You can also dowse these ley lines, and some people can even see them clairvoyantly. And at these intersections, you can usually find some interesting places, like some interesting rock formations that don't make sense geologically, or places that people have built, temples and churches and other sites, and places of paranormal phenomena, strange sightings, cryptozoological sightings, UFO sightings, poltergeists, also mystical experiences, communion experiences, visions of, saints or angels or that sort of thing, as people understand these visions of what look like humanoid luminous figures. I have this feeling that like you're looking into this, or you found a place like this, or you're creating a place like this. And it doesn't necessarily have to be so paranormal and spiritual. It could literally just be like you're setting aside a space for yourself to do what you want, to have your time. You know, maybe like you're setting up a painting easel, and it's like you're kind of ritualizing the process of creating something. Maybe you're making like a little music studio in a corner of your house where you can focus on being creative, or like a little workshop in your garage, or finding like time to do something that's good for you, something that you want to do, and you can pour yourself into it. I just get this receptive feeling, this sort of bringing something into yourself and then into the world, like this conduit, this sort of channeling vibe. You know, like the open palm plus the earth, the element of the earth, like receiving, being open to currents and energies, and then allowing it to move through you and out of you to do something with it, to do something interesting and beautiful and creative or educational or helpful in some way. And in doing this, you sort of disperse or melt just like bad vibes, kind of. Like it eliminates, like it like melts ice. It like chips away ice and melts ice and gets rid of like this stagnant or frozen aspects. Maybe there's some unprocessed emotions that this will allow you to process and sublimate and disperse. Or maybe there's some parasitic energies around you that doing this can disperse. And I also get this idea of like it like chips away at something, and it's nice and consistent. You work on this process, you ritualize the process, or maybe you call upon rituals to keep yourself focused. But in doing this process, whatever it is, whether it's creative, productive, or just setting aside time for relaxation, or whatever it is that you need to do for yourself, ritualizing the process or using rituals to stay focused, to maintain consistent effort on this, maybe even daily. You want to do this daily if you can, and be consistent, but think of it as a marathon and not a sprint. And when I say a marathon, it's not a race either. A lot of marathons you want to win. This is just like being consistent and focused, but not bringing yourself to the point of exhaustion. Doing enough work or doing enough of the process that it feels fulfilling and it feels like you did something and it feels like this is right, but don't push it to the point of exhaustion. Like, you know, if it's like an exercising metaphor, you know, people say like work out to the point of failure. That's how you build muscle and strength, right? Or you can work out to the point where you feel like you've done enough. You're not really trying to like build strength and become super muscular. You're just trying to stay fit and healthy. And you can feel when it's like, okay, that's enough. I don't need to push it too far and like ruin the rest of my week. You know, I want to be able to get out of bed tomorrow. So that type of consistency, like steady, focused, I get the sense it's like fun, like making sure it stays fun by not exhausting yourself and pushing yourself too far. That ensures it stays fun. Like that's the key. If you're wondering like, how can I keep this fun and interesting? How can I stay enthusiastic? What's the key to maintaining enthusiasm and maintaining inspiration? Well, it's by taking it this way. Slowly, consistently, and not to the point of exhaustion. And like allowing yourself to take breaks when you want to take breaks. And that sort of diligence is how you're going to ritualize the process, and it's how it's going to be successful for you. For some reason, I thought of I can't remember, some famous sculptor. I want to say Michelangelo, but I don't think it was him, who said like, there's already a statue in the block of marble. You just have to chip away at the marble to reveal it. Like that kind of a vibe. Like pay attention to the details. Don't rush it. Because if you rush it, you know, you make a mistake while carving a statue, you could mess up the whole block of marble and you might have to start over. So like, just having fun with it and not pushing it too hard. So I'm going to pull some cards for you. The two, oh, so yeah, just if in case you're wondering, I got the open palm and the element of earth, I think I mentioned here, and hexagram 59, dispersing with no changing lines. So if you want to look those up yourself, well, the open palm and the earth, and the I Ching, those are they're two different divination systems, one my own and one from the I Ching. But the symbolism of the earth element in the open palm you can find in lots of places. You don't need to like buy a book from me or anything like that. But the open palm here, oh, that one's stuck. The Knight of Swords. So imagine like someone, yeah, I can imagine that you're ready to receive enthusiasm and receive a type of vitality for something. Like you want to get going on something and you're wondering, like, where's this energy going to come from, and when is it my turn to be enthusiastic? When is it my turn to gain inspiration? I haven't had inspiration in a while. I'm ready now for it. Like you're the Knight of Swords and the open palm together are kind of odd. They sort of seem opposites to each other. The open palm is very receptive and just sort of waiting to receive and being graceful with it, whereas the Knight of Swords is like moving really fast, moving towards something. So I think there's an energy moving toward you that is going to, you're going to be able to like ride this wave of inspiration. Pretty soon it's going to hit you, and you got to be like a good surfer, ready to hit the wave when it comes, because inspiration doesn't hit all the time, and when it does, we got to really, really take advantage of it. And like a surfer, there's not a lot of effort to surf. You just got to keep your balance, keep your wits about you, stay calm, balanced, and focused, and you just sort of ride the wave. And the wave brings you where you need to go. And that's a lot how inspiration works, whether it's something pragmatic, productive, and practical, or whether it's something creative. We can always get into the zone, into this flow state. And I'm so grateful when this happens to me, when that type of inspiration hits me for a creative project, and it just overtakes me, and I just receive this inspiration. Like, it's why it's called music. It comes from the Greek muse, these sort of fairy entities, or these kind of demi-deities who almost possess human beings, or really influence a person, and like, you got to just be ready to go with it and not interrupt that flow, and be consistent with it, and like, don't try to rush it or push it, just let it go at its pace, but you have to stay balanced and with it at the pace it's going. And it's usually a pretty steady pace. It can feel fast, but it's steady enough. And it's such a great feeling when we get that sort of inspiration and can just work. And like, sometimes we forget to eat, we forget to go to the bathroom, and like the sun goes through its whole cycle, and you're like, oh my God, it's night. I've been working on this all day. And be careful, just be mindful of that. Pay attention to the needs of your body, and sometimes the muses are a bit ruthless with us. They don't care about your body or your bladder or anything like that. They want to express themselves, and they're going to use you to do it. But it can be fun if you eat a good breakfast and do some yoga and some exercising in the morning and get yourself ready for a day like that. And I think you can have a lot of productive days coming up. There's this muse that wants to use you, and I say let her. It is great when a muse wants to use your skills and picks you for a project that they wish to express into this world. So let's see a bit more about this earth. Let's see, if we're talking about a holy site or a specific art project or work project or something like that. The Tower. Okay, so there is that sense of dispersal, right? So there's a thing that's being cleared maybe like a physical thing. Maybe you gotta like do some renovations on your house. If you're wondering if this is for some of you, if you've got some place that you need to make room for something new and you're thinking, should I renovate? Should I change, like really change something within the living space? Like, yeah, now would probably be a great time to do that. It's probably the right move to, maybe look into like feng shui or stapacheved or something like that, or just follow your intuition on how to reorganize your space. And if you needed to create an art studio, a new office, something like that, I say do it. I say get out the sledgehammer and have some fun. Just be careful, have proper guidance, hire the right people if you need to. But I think now would be a good time to really clear out some things. There's maybe some of you are literally building like a shrine somewhere in your backyard, like a holy spot or like a little altar or something, and you have to reorganize. Maybe you gotta like clear out some space in the yard, do some yard work, do some landscaping, do all that. I know in the Northern Hemisphere it's still February right now, but again, you could be watching this whenever. But there needs to be that clearance. If you've been thinking about clearing something out, let it happen. For others, there might be something clearing out, whether you want it to or not. There could be an aspect of your like material life that is being cleared out, and this could be good or bad. It's unclear. I'll clarify this one for you, because you might be having some type of perhaps financial catastrophe that's going to inspire you to rethink how you earn your money. So it might be very painful in the short term, but you might realize that there are better ways that are more fulfilling for you to earn your money. Harmonious change, the Two of Pentacles here. This card says harmonious change under it instead of Two of Pentacles. That kind of just fits exactly what I was saying. This is finding a way to receive money and other material benefits that are not at odds with your principles, that are like, it's like in a flow state where some way of earning money wasn't sitting well with you, and a new way of earning money that is more in line with your code of conduct, let's say, your moral values, is going to appear. So keep your wits about you, keep your head about you if there is some type of financial issue that you're running into. Try not to feel overwhelmed about it. I know these things really suck when it happens, but do your best to see the silver lining. Do your best to see it in a way that's like, okay, this catastrophe could be an opportunity because now there's like this gap in my life, or this space has been cleared where you'll feel like a motivation to figure out, all right, so what do I have to do now? What do I have to do next? How can I build something to receive my material benefits? How can I reorganize how I receive this stuff? And like finding out, I don't know if there's some way where like you can change your attitude about how you feel about receiving things, or purifying the money that comes to you. I know there's that old saying, money burns the hand that it touches, and it's sometimes difficult to receive money just because of the system we live in, and the sort of fractional reserve central banking currencies that are like just a big old Ponzi scheme. And like that phrase that capitalism makes thieves of us all and communism makes criminals of us all. Like it just participating in that, in the economy, can make us feel really, really awful because it's a zero-sum game. But there could be some attitude change there occurring that where sort of guilt vanishes, or the way you receive and spend the money is more harmonious and is in line with your values, and you finally like figure out that like secret money alchemy that you've been missing, and something will finally click. So just keep calm if this sort of thing is being cleared out or scattered to the wind in the meantime, and look for your change of mind. Like, be receptive to having your opinions altered. Be receptive, like allow your beliefs about it to change and see what happens. Do that as an experiment. So I'm going to pull one last thing for you, Pisces, and round this all out. So we have the Copperhead, the number 8, the little snaky guy. Now, Copperheads usually come out in around September, October, so maybe that month is important. Now, this is interesting. So, this might be a bit crude, but the Copperhead knows how to get his meal, because he can emit a scent that smells like cucumbers, and it attracts the unwary rodentia to right to him. And he barely has to do anything. He just lies around all day, reeking of veggies, and something will eventually scurry on over to him, and he just takes it. So, again, there's this idea of receptiveness, of being receptive, of finding out how to receive, like effortlessly, allowing something to come to you, allowing things to be cleared out, allowing to have your pentacles, your material things with this flow state and this sort of effortlessness. Now, I'm not suggesting doing anything predatory to do that, but it is an interesting analogy here where the Copperhead is very enticing. It has a very enticing scent. And I know whenever I go outside in September, October, and I smell cucumbers, I gotta watch where the hell I step. So see if you can sort of think like the Copperhead. What is the Copperhead doing that brings it its full belly? Like, how does the Copperhead exist in this reality? How does it emit that cucumber scent? Why cucumbers? The other side of it is, don't fall for deceptions at this time. Obviously, don't fall for deceptions at any time. That's generally sound advice. But look out for things that might be too sweet. Again, if something is happening in your earth sphere, in your material sphere, and you feel a little bit overwhelmed and vulnerable, we can become easy prey for serpentine type people because we're really looking for a quick solution. And people are all too willing to offer quick solutions to vulnerable people to get benefit for themselves. So that's the other side of this Copperhead is don't do that. And look at this. Look at these two number 8s here. So maybe the 88 is important. 16 might be important. Number 7 might be important. 1 plus 6 is 7. But here we have this cycle here, this flow state of natural receiving, of like not being blocked from receiving what is rightfully yours, of becoming unblocked from it, and having being able to put consistent effort into developing this, an effort that doesn't exhaust you, an effort that feels inspired and joyful. Yeah, I think that's all I'm getting. I think that's where the Oracle and I are going to leave it here for you today, Pisces. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I always appreciate you stopping by and spending the time. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you next time.